Hey there folks, Wrel here. Today we get to do something kind of fun, and I've cleared this with the team already. They're completely cool with me making a video like this, but internally we're a bit torn as to what to actually name the victory generator, because right now it's actually the modular field refinery on test server, but that name doesn't really pull to its purpose at the moment, and victory gener is honestly just, it's kind of boring. So what I'd like to do is give you the opportunity to chime in. What do you think we should name the victory generator? And this isn't a contest or anything, there won't be any voting or a rigid selection system. The team is the one who gets to make the final say, but if you can come up with something less lame than what we already have, that aligns with its purpose, we'll be more than willing to move that direction. It's probably a good idea though to give you some background as to what the VP generator actually does lore-wise, and none of this is canon yet, but it's the direction that we're leaning. So lore-wise, Cortium nodes have been erupting to the surface of Araxis. Cortium is a huge source of power that allows for the near instantaneous construction of large structures and powerful devices, which is something we weren't really able to do with Araxium unless it went through a stringent refining process and had a substantial amount of power added to it. Cortium doesn't have that problem. It practically sustains itself, raw energy from the core of Araxis. Now here's the fun part. Those of you who've been playing for a long time probably remember when the hex system was replaced with the lattice system. And the lore reasoning behind it, if I remember correctly, was that hard lines were added beneath the surface of Araxis. So they connected one base to the next because open air communication was just too hackable, it wasn't reliable. More importantly though, is that these hard lines control the ability to spawn at each base, because the bulk of power generation ultimately stems from the warp gate itself. With the immense power of Cortium at our fingertips now, we can refine it into an energy source, which we can then use to destabilize the enemy warp gates at long range, without having to go through these hard lines. The process of destabilizing an enemy warp gate is conveyed through the victory point system. So when you're connecting the hard lines from one warp gate to the next, you're essentially striking at an enemy warp gate, which is why you're then rewarded a victory point. Likewise, when you power one of these generators with Cortium, you can destabilize enemy warp gates remotely, which is why you gain contribution more quickly when your VP gen is closer to the enemy warp gate. Ultimately, when a faction reaches that sort of critical mass of VP generation, enemy warp gates basically lose their ability to generate power effectively, which means that you're stripping them of the ability to spawn on that continent, and that's why a continent locks down. So that's the current lore behind why VP gens are in use and why Cortium is so sought after, and my challenge to you is to simply come up with a cool name for the VP gen. Usually you want something that rolls off the tongue nicely or has a good acronym and points to the lore of the actual device in a way that doesn't confuse its functional use within the game. We have a pretty long list of stuff that we could go with, but this is also a great opportunity for you folks to come up with something original and let you be a part of the development process in a new way. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel. Feel free to keep posting this stuff through the weekend and we'll likely settle on something come Monday. Thanks very much folks, Wrel signing off.